I remember one of my first crushes was on a woman that was older than me. I was very taken with her though. She's very pretty, she's very funny, very smart. Like she was smart. And I was just really impressed with her. Unfortunately, the age difference proved to be too much and it wasn't going to work. Of course, I am talking about my grade 3 teacher, Mrs. Murtaugh. At the time, she was 33. I was 8. Alas, it just wasn't meant to be. That love affair lasted about 2 to 3 days in my mind, and I moved on. I tell you that story for two reasons. Number one, because it's cute. And number two, because it kind of propels us into the series that I'm about to talk about, A Teacher. Now, unfortunately, what isn't cute and what isn't funny is that there have been so many times we've seen in the news of stories of teachers having affairs with their students. Of course, the Mary Kay Letourneau story comes to mind, but this became somewhat of a tradition in like weekly TV, made-for-TV movies, whether it was based on a true story or just a work of fiction. Now, years ago, writer-director Hannah Fidel came out with a movie version of A Teacher. It wasn't really well received. There were a lot of mixed reviews on it. And I can tell you, after seeing the series, this is the way you want to go. Being able to develop this story over 10 episodes of 30 minutes each, you're able to really dive into these characters and develop this story. Now, in this series, the main characters are Claire, played by Kate Mara. And of course, a lot of people know Kate Mara from her role in House of Cards or her role in Megan Levy. I was embarrassed to see that she was in the TV show 24 because I was a huge fan of the show 24. But I will tell you respectfully, I don't remember her in that show. I don't say that as an insult, but I just don't remember her. To me, Kate Mara has always been a supporting actress. Or, hey, isn't she the sister of Rooney Mara, who, of course, was in The Social Network and got an Academy Award nomination for The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo? To me, the coolest thing about Kate Mara was the fact that she was the granddaughter of the Mara family, which owned the New York Giants. My opinions on Kate Mara have changed. We'll get to that in a moment. And in this series, her co-star, Nick Robinson, who of course has done a lot of teen comedies, teen dramas, and for me, his breakout role was in the film Love, Simon, where he played the role of a young man dealing with coming out to his friends and his family. In this series, he plays Eric. Now, one of the things about this is that although there's a lot of moving parts in this series, it really focuses on these two characters. So Claire is a fresh-faced teacher to this high school, and as she's getting to know her way around, she is dealing with some issues in her own life where apparently the attention that she's getting at home isn't enough, and then she starts to get the attention of one of her students, Eric. Now, of course, one thing leads to another, and then they propel themselves into this full-on affair, which obviously is a big no-no. But what's interesting is that how this show develops in terms of looking at it from both points of view, looking at it from the point of view of the 17-year-old student and also looking at it from the point of view of the much older, well, not much older, but the older teacher who should know better. So sometimes you do a project like Hannah Fidel did with the movie and it doesn't work out well. She's corrected all of those errors with this series because this is one of those series that even though I saw it a few days ago, I am constantly talking about. I find myself bringing it up in conversation because it's one of those series that you just want to dive into and talk about. And I feel that if they've been able to evoke that level of emotion from me, they've obviously done something really well. There are a couple of things that I really love about this series. One is the acting, and sometimes it's just the subtleness of the acting in terms of the main characters and their facial reactions. It's interesting watching Kate Mara's Claire kind of delve into a Walter White Breaking Bad type character arc where you see her doing things that she knows that she shouldn't be doing, so why exactly is she doing them? The series will give you an answer. And it's also watching Nick Robinson's Eric character go from this guy who's, kind of, popular guy on canvas to the ramifications of how this affair has an impact on his life. I reached out to a teacher friend of mine and wanted to talk to her about this. And it was interesting when she was saying to me that, Keith, this does happen, But it's interesting how it's dealt with if it's a male teacher versus if it's a female teacher, and I found that dialogue very interesting. I found this whole series very captivating. The subject matter is uncomfortable, especially if you have kids, especially kids at a high school age. But at the same token, sometimes it's those uncomfortable projects that spark just such great conversation. I was very impressed with this. And there were some scenes that I went back and watched again, and just again the subtleness of the character reactions say so much. On a side note, the soundtrack for this series is fantastic. I really enjoyed that, and I think Hannah Fidel has done such a great job with this show. Can it make you? Is there potential that it'll make you feel somewhat uncomfortable? Maybe. Will you be impressed by the acting? I definitely hope so. I've always said, good or bad, if a character evokes a strong reaction from you, they're doing their job. And Kate Mara and Nick Robinson did their job. I give the series a B+. Again, it's 10 episodes, 30 minutes each. You can catch this on FX. I saw it on Rogers On Demand. It's definitely available. And during these times, if you're looking for a show, I recommend this one. If you have the chance to see it, let me know what you think. I'd love to chat with you about it. Until next time, I'm Keith saying take care.